Today, more than 400 areas in the United States make up the national park system. 84 million acres in 50 states, as well as the District of Columbia, American Samoa, Guam, Puerto Rico, Saipan, and the Virgin Islands. These areas are all supported by over 20,000 National Park Service employees. They are all considered areas of such national significance that they justify special recognition and protection based on acts of Congress. To many, and even to me growing up, history and geography seem pretty uncool. But I'm here to tell you, now I'm a motorcycle photojournalist and I get to ride all around the country. And now I know that we were vastly misled. President Theodore Roosevelt is often referred to as the conservationist president, a title he richly deserves. He used his authority as president to protect over 240 million acres of land and wildlife by creating the United States Forest Service. He also established 150 national forests, 51 federal bird reserves, 4 national game preserves, 5 national parks, and 18 national monuments, as part of the Antiquities Act of 1906. But it was Ulysses S. Grant on March 1st, 1872, that signed legislation that established Yellowstone in the territories of Montana and Wyoming, making it the country's first national park. In a pre-tweet era, the following statement went out to the world. Henceforth, Yellowstone National Park shall be deemed as a public park or pleasuring ground for the benefit and enjoyment of the people. It was placed under exclusive control of the Secretary of the Interior. Approximately 10 years later, on August 25, 1916, President Woodrow Wilson signed the Organic Act. This officially created the National Park Service that we have today. It protected the 35 national parks and monuments that had been created since 1872, as well as those yet to be established. In 1933, Horace ALBRIGHT, who was the director of the National Park Services, wanted to secure the protection of even more U.S. areas and move them under the Park Service's protection. This would include the transfer of national military parks, battlefields, and monuments away from the War Department and Department of Agriculture and into the national park system. Theodore Roosevelt's fifth cousin, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, was president at the time, and he helped Horace by creating 2 executive orders. One transferred an additional 56 national monuments and military sites from the Forest Service and the War Department over to the National Park Service. Additionally, the new plan protected more than a dozen non-military historic sites. This included the Statue of Liberty and Mount Rushmore, as well as the District of Columbia's Lincoln Memorial and the National Mall. This moved national parks beyond the preservation of just natural wonders and wildlife, and it began to embrace the concept of America itself. While this course will focus on the U.S. parks, it's important to know that the acts of U.S. conservation inspired over 100 nations to establish their own national parks and preserves. It was also the precursor to the concept of World Heritage Sites. These were sites established by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in 1972. It recognizes places such as a building, a city, complex, desert, forest, island, lake, other monuments, or even mountains that are of special cultural or physical significance, some of which are also U.S. national parks. As of July 2016, there are 1,052 registered World Heritage Sites. As we dive into the over 400 parks, we will also dig into why only 59 are officially given the honor of national parks. We'll do this by diving into the confusing and numerous naming conventions that are used to define the different parks. Along the way, we will discover the highest point in the United States, Mount McKinley, as well as its complete opposite found in the California desert called Death Valley. It's as cool as it sounds. There you can travel negative 282 feet below sea level on land. And there's these large rocks that just mysteriously move across the sand. We'll venture off to Hawaii to 2 active volcanoes at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. And back on the mainland, well, almost, but south of Key West, Florida, we will investigate a park in the middle of the ocean, the Dry Tortugas. It's only accessible by boat or seaplane, and the entire park is 99% underwater, so you're going to need a bathing suit. With over 400 places to visit, these are but a sample of what we will explore. We'll dive into the history, politics, people, animals, land, culture, and adventures of some of the most interesting and forward-thinking people the United States has ever seen. Guys like John Muir, who lived in and documented many of the early parks. He was basically the original pre-reality TV survivalist. I hope by the end of this course, you'll be as passionate about discovering the national parks as I am, and take what you learn here and get out and discover them for yourself. I've held a national parks card and passport for over 20 years. You can get an annual pass for individual parks or the entire park system, or check the National Parks website for free days that take place throughout the entire year. If you are lucky enough to have a fourth grader in your family, you can discover the 59 major national parks for free every day of the year. Many of the other parks are actually free, but these major parks are part of a national $20 million initiative started in 2015 to help every kid see every park, as part of the park's 100th anniversary. Whether you bribe a sibling to get a pass or convince your parents to take you, either way, it is worth getting out and seeing these places in person. I always tell my two little girls, don't go anywhere, go somewhere. And the national parks has some of the biggest somewheres that I know. I hope to see you out there.